Have you ever experienced a small act of kindness from a total stranger that changes your outlook in life completely? Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters. What does it take to lift a man's spirit? What does it take to make a man feel more resourceful, happier, more optimistic, more positive? Very often, all it takes is just a small little act of kindness. You see this little blue car? This little blue car here reminds me of my very first car. It is a car which I bought when I was an undergraduate in Canada. It was a little blue Chevrolet. It was 3 years old, but it looks much older than that. It was ugly, and it was extremely unreliable. Its only saving grace was that it is the only car that I could afford. This car gave me no end of trouble, but it is because of my car troubles that I had the opportunity to experience the kindness of the Canadians. One day, when I was coming back from school to my home, it was snowing heavily. I was on the highway, and then my car stopped suddenly. I had to pull the car over by the side of the road. Immediately, there's a pickup behind me. He too pulled up to the side of the road in front of me. The man came out and he asked me, what help do I need? What is the problem? Together we checked the car and we realized that I had a dead battery. He asked me, do you have a jumper cable? I said, no. A jumper cable is a long wire which you can attach one side to a healthy battery, the other side to the dead battery to restart the engine. I don't have a jumper cable and neither has he. And he said, wait here, I have a jumper cable at home. I am going home to get you the cable, bring it back here and start your engine again. And off he went. The moment he left, another car came along and parked in front of me. The driver came out and asked me what my trouble was. I said, I have a dead battery. Immediately he went back to his car and pulled out a jumper cable. He attached one side to his healthy battery, one side to my dead battery. I turned the ignition once, nothing happened. Twice, nothing happened. A third time, vroom, my car came back to life. I was extremely relieved. Once the driver realized or checked that I am fine, that I was okay, he wished me good luck and he left. I waited several more minutes for the first driver to come back. And sure enough, as promised, he came back with a jumper cable. And I told him that another driver had came along while I was waiting and my car has already been restarted. After making sure that I was alright, he too wished me good luck and left. I don't know who these two gentlemen were that helped me on that particular day, but this small little car that now rests on my dashboard reminds me of the valuable lesson that they had taught me on that day. That a small act of kindness can have a very big and lasting impact and long and lasting impression. It was also during the winter. My car not only had a bad battery, it actually had a bad radiator and bad engine. It will overheat even in the coldest and the deepest part of the Canadian winter, which can be very cold. It can be minus 20 to 30. So whenever I stopped the car, I had to lift up the hood for the car engine to cool down. There was this winter when my father came to visit me, and I took him to a Chinese diner to buy barbecue ribs. We drove to the diner. I parked beside the diner. As usual, as I normally do, I would lift up the hood in order for my engine to cool down. And I dashed into the diner. It was snowing heavily that day. I spent about 20 minutes in the diner before I got my food. And when I came out, there was this big man standing beside my car. He was covered from head to toe. He had a thick woolen hat and a thick woolen scarf around his face and neck. And I could only see his eyes. He wore a big, heavy down jacket, gloves, and snow boots. But he was trembling, because that day it was snowing heavily and the wind was gusting. And this man was standing in the cold and trembling. I approached the car and asked my dad what was happening. He said that this man approached him the moment I left the car and went into the diner. Because my hood was up, this man asked my father what help he needed. Unfortunately, my father was not able to speak English. So this man stood in the snow for 20 minutes freezing, waiting for me to come out to ask me, how can I help you? So I told him that there was nothing wrong because my car simply overheats every time and I was just letting it cool. So realizing that everything was fine, he wished me good luck and he left. I never knew who this man was. But whenever I see this little blue car on my dashboard, it reminds me that a small act of kindness can leave a long and lasting impression that you cannot easily forget. Don't you agree?
Yes.
During the summertime, we went to a neighboring province called Quebec. Quebec is a French-speaking part of Canada because it is good for shopping, and it has this largest shopping mall in the entire country. So we were on the highway in this car, but along the way I lost my way. I didn't know where the shopping center was. So I was driving slowly and erratically on the highway. A car pulled up alongside me. The driver walked down his window and shouted, "Do you need any help?" And I shouted back, "Yes!" I'm lost. He said, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to this biggest shopping center in the country." Then he said, "Follow me." So he pulled up in front of me, and I followed behind him. Well, the shopping center wasn't just further up the road. It wasn't just around the corner. Actually, the shopping center was 20 minutes more of driving on the highway after making several U-turns and going through several interchanges. I do not know who this driver was. He only said goodbye after he realized that I found the shopping mall. But whenever I see this blue car on my dashboard, I remember his smiling face. And he never fails to bring a smiling face on me too. So ladies and gentlemen, what does it take to make a man feel more resourceful, happier, more positive, more optimistic? What does it take to make this world a better place? This little car here reminds me that more often than not, it just takes a little act of kindness. Back to you, Jessica.
外面有3次。